When I was down at Zion and Dobbs Ferry, the town next to us, Irvington, had a very active amateur theater group that met in the town hall, in the auditorium there. And while I was there, they decided to do a production of Angels in America, which was very ambitious for an amateur group, especially in Irvington. And so they would, from time to time, sort of flesh out the cast by inviting actors to come up from New York City as well. And one of the actors they invited up actually had the lead part and was a friend of friends of mine. So we decided that we would support the actor and invited maybe a dozen friends from New York up. We had dinner, and then that evening went to the production of Angels in America. Those of you who've seen the play or know about it, it's in 2 parts, and they're both very long. So we settled into our seats, and the production began. And I have to say, it was one of the most excruciating theatrical productions I've ever had the privilege to witness. It was plodding, it was hard, and it was very difficult to sit still. Finally, I turned to a good friend next to me, and I said, if we don't leave this theater, we'll never grow old because time has stopped. Having heard my prayer, God immediately sounded the fire signal in the village, which was in the same building as the town hall. And there's a little note in the program that said, if the fire signal should go off, then we'll pause the production. And so sure enough, they stopped the action, broke that 4th wall. We listened to the siren go off. And then the stage manager came on stage and said, we hate to interrupt this production, so we're going to start from the beginning. Now, you may wonder what that has to do with the Transfiguration. But the thing that strikes me in the Transfiguration story from Matthew that we've just heard is Peter. As Stephen has rightly pointed out, Peter often is slightly off on his observations. He gets things right, and then he gets things wrong. He kind of stumbles and bumbles a bit in terms of his impetuous responses to Jesus. And at this moment of incredible glory, this theophany, this showing of God to the disciples on the mountaintop, of course reminiscent of Moses's, as David pointed out, they're bookended theophanies or showings of God. And in this very dramatic, very powerful moment where God says, "This is my son," Peter gets the bright idea with Moses and Elijah there that he's going to build some condominiums and they can all move in. And the idea behind this is Peter wants to hold on to this moment. He wants time to stop. He wants this moment of glory, this moment that so powerfully speaks about God's power and presence and glory to go on forever. So he says, let's institutionalize it. Let's build something. Let's make it permanent so that we can keep this incredible moment that I'm witnessing and participating in. Let's hold on to it forever. Let's stop the clock, literally, and settle down in our houses. Well, that's not what happens, of course. But it's very much part of human nature. We have a desire in the context of change or transfiguration to want to hold on to what we know, what we're comfortable with, what we love. And that's a very human characteristic. It's reflected in Thornton Wilder's wonderful play, Our Town, when Emily is given the chance to relive any day of her life that she wants to. And she chooses to go back to her 12th birthday day. And in that day, she's been waiting for her father to come back from a speaking engagement. And she watches herself, her family, and the townspeople, their friends, go through that day together. She's an observer. And clearly, she wants to hold on to that happy memory of that day. But it's ultimately impossible. And not only that, Emily realizes how painful it is, as wonderful as the memory is, to see how unaware people are of things changing all the time, of the transitory nature of human experience. She says, why don't they spend more time looking at each other, drinking in the relationship and the love that they have for each other? We want things to be concrete, permanent, and part of our lives forever. But that's not the way that life goes. And it's not the way that our relationship in our faith or in our community go as well. Change is impossible to avoid. We move, we evolve, we change in every way conceivable. And still throughout it, we have the desire to remain the same. But that's illusory. That is not possible. So where does the comfort come in the face of change? We all know all those wonderful light bulb jokes that talk about how many kinds of different people it takes to change a light bulb. There are wonderful Episcopal versions of it. Several are. For example, how many Episcopalians does it take to change a light bulb? 3 of them, 2 to change it, and 1 to make the cocktails. Another version is, it doesn't get changed. It was given as a memorial. We as an institution are reluctant to embrace change, but it's part of any living person or organization or community. So where is the comfort in today's gospel? Well, it would seem that we are meant to draw comfort from the glory of God, this extraordinary expression of power and grace and presence, and the affirmation of Jesus being the Son of God here on the mountaintop. But for me, the most moving part of this gospel story, as powerful and beautiful as the story of the Transfiguration is, comes in what happens afterwards. There's a very highly stylized narration here. You have this great showing of God, and of course, the proper posture is to humble yourself in the presence of God, to put yourself literally face down on the ground. And we're told that the disciples do so not necessarily just in awe or respect, but because they're terrified, because they're frightened. Now you can imagine, given Peter's history with Jesus, when he sees the disciples lying in front of him, might say, "Oh, come on, Peter." But instead what he does is he reaches out and touches them. And for me, that is the truly moving pivot of this story. Jesus doesn't use it for a moment to teach, but instead deeply connects with the disciples. He touches them tenderly, and you can visualize him leaning over, touching their shoulders. And what he says to them is, "Get up. Do not be afraid." And how powerful that is to all of us, who by our very humanity can often fear change, fear the future, want to hold on to the past, which seems secure and safe. This point in the story is a pivot moment in Matthew's gospel. Immediately following this, Jesus begins his journey to Jerusalem with his disciples. And this idea of our life journey, the life journey of our spirituality, our experience of community, our family, our friends, this journey we are on because we are alive is filled with change. But Jesus invites the disciples with this touch and with these words to join him on this journey. For Jesus, it'll be a journey that is incredibly filled with change. The journey will seemingly end in the cross, and then we'll learn the true power of God as Jesus is resurrected. The changes that happen to that band of disciples and their leader Jesus are many. And it's a journey that many might have feared. Would they be enough? Would they do the right thing? Would they be okay? All of those must have been questions in the hearts of the disciples. And so for me, as we begin our Lenten journey this coming Wednesday with Ash Wednesday, and we have 6 weeks to think about and prepare ourselves for Holy Week and Easter, I think it's not a bad thing to remember that the true glory of God is not necessarily revealed in pyrotechnics and displays of great majesty. That's certainly possible. But is best revealed, God's glory is revealed in God's love for humanity, in the care for us, knowing our worries, our vulnerabilities, our anxieties, our fears. And for me, what I hear in this story is an invitation to us all. And that is to say, this Lent, no matter where you are in your life, no matter what changes you've experienced or may experience in the future, Jesus says to us, dear friend, get up. I'm with you, and let's make this journey together. Amen.